Hi, it's Kevin Bates here, and today video 3 in what apparently has become a series looking at a thought experiment in which someone has gained the ability to rewrite the Bitcoin blockchain proof-of-work protected hash-linked list that makes up the data backbone of the Bitcoin system. Maybe by spending a vast fortune on miners and having 10 times the hashing power that the network currently has, or a more simple way of setting up this axiom would be that they've managed to hack the SHA-256 algorithm so they can create any output hash they want in one simple computation. So effectively turning SHA-256 into a chameleon hash function in which they have the chameleon key rather than SHA-256 just being a normal cryptographic hash function. And today I wanted to talk a bit about the social impact, and Björn Björk actually posted a video by Andreas Antonopoulos where he looks at what would happen if a government controlled more than 50% of the hash rate and could therefore execute a double spend. And his conclusion was that the Bitcoin community would work around it pretty quickly. It's a funny video, so I'll put a link in the comments. However, the case that I'm looking here is slightly different, because Andreas's case was that one government, say, has more than 50% of the hash power and they can start executing double spends on the network, and that would be immediately visible and steps could be taken. What I'm looking at is if somebody covertly decided to recreate the Bitcoin data blockchain from scratch, building on Satoshi Nakamoto's Genesis block, but then effectively mining everything themselves. And I've gone over that in the previous videos. And the thing is, you would then spring the whole thing on the community in one go. But of course, it would immediately be obvious, because all the old transactions that everybody had been using and all their wallets that contain Bitcoin suddenly wouldn't anymore. And it would become obvious pretty quickly that something really rather ridiculous and dangerous had happened. So I think Andreas's points still stand, which is that the Bitcoin developers and the Bitcoin community would quickly recognize that this other chain, although valid, in fact more valid than the existing Bitcoin chain, is nevertheless not the one that the community wants to be using. So a new Bitcoin core code base would be rolled out, which would specifically say, if I am getting blocks that are part of this other chain, I'm on the wrong chain, throw them away, go back to the one which, yes, technically is less valid because its difficulty is lower than the one that's trying to replace it, but we don't want to be using the one that is technically better, so throw it out the window. That would be, I think, the result of this rewrite. However, I was thinking about this last night. What if you could somehow get all the existing transactions onto your copy, but what you did was, as you basically blocks that were mined and then those coins were never spent. For example, all of Satoshi Nakamoto's fortune were the ones that you ascribed to yourself. And in the next video, I'll talk a bit more about that concept, because it's been quite a fun thought experiment, and I think I will at some point have to write an article about this, because it is getting a bit complicated. But that's it for today. Hope you found that interesting. See you in the next video soon. Bye for now.